So good evening to all my dear YouTube viewers and my dear friends. Today I will discuss about the different questions regarding the topic photosynthesis, which is a very important one for the upcoming NET examination and for the different kinds of 12th examination, okay, and the other competitive examination also. So without any delay, let's start. So before I start, I would recommend you to subscribe my channel to get notification about these various depth of knowledge. So today's topic is the photosynthesis. I am your Samyajit Sir doing that topic to elaborate you for the better informations. So without any delay, let's start. What is the mind map of the photosynthesis? It is the like the your slide which you are observing now. The photosynthesis is a very simple kind of reaction, but sometimes it become complex, and we have to remember that the carbon dioxide at the atmosphere and the water, when added with in the presence of sunlight, it gives the glucose and oxygen, which is the byproduct also. Okay, the glucose is the main product and the oxygen is the byproduct of the all photosynthesis activities. Okay, so the different factors are affecting the photosynthesis. So what are they? So these are the optimum temperature, light intensity, your temperature, and the concentration of carbon dioxide gas. So the different factors like the optimum temperature. So what is the optimum temperature? It is the amount of temperature needed for the photosynthesis activity. That means it is in between the 25 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius in order to carry out the photosynthetic activities. So next one is your light intensity. So sunlight is needed for the photosynthesis, but there is some kind of color of light which is also retard this photosynthetic activity, and sometimes it also trigger the photosynthesis activity. So we know that the red light is very much important for the to trigger or to accelerate the photosynthetic activities, and the black or the different other color light are the other kinds of other colors of light are retarding the photosynthetic activities. Okay, when we are comparing with the red light. Okay, so the next one is your temperature. While the temperature is rise inside our atmosphere, the photosynthetic activity is decreased. That means when it is above the 35 degrees Celsius, the photosynthesis activity is ceased. That means the enzyme cannot activate and denature very quickly in order, and which simultaneously retard the photosynthetic activity. Okay, so next point is your concentration of carbon dioxide gas. So while you are when there is no consent, when there is no the carbon dioxide gas in your atmosphere, that means inside your inside the mesophyll cells of the leaves, so the photosynthesis activity is stopped. That means it is needed very much, it is a very essential thing for the any photosynthetic activity. So we need carbon dioxide as well as the light intensity as well as the at the optimum temperature and water. Okay, so all these components are needed for a qualitative photosynthesis reaction. So it is a general mind map, you can also observe anywhere also. So next one is the photosynthesis takes place in leaves. We also know about it in every from your ninth class. Okay, it is a very essential reaction. It is takes place in the leaves. And what happens actually? Actually, the light energy is triggering the photosynthesis activity, which is comes from the ultimate source of light. That means the sunlight. Okay, so the sunlight convert the light energy inside this into chemical energy inside the leaves. Okay, so the light energy is converted into the chemical energy inside the leaves. Okay, and you also know that inside the leaves what is the component of your photosynthesis, that is the chloroplast, and the chloroplast contain the chlorophyll pigment, which is a natural pigment of the any leaves of our plants. So the chlorophyll pigment helps for the photosynthetic activities, for the plants. Okay, so next there are some points which we have to remember in order to crack the different competitive examinations. So the first point is the green plants carry out the photosynthesis or a physiochemical process by which they can use the light energy to derive the synthetic of the organic compound. So what happens actually, the photosynthetic is a photochemical reaction or the physiochemical reaction. That means it is the simultaneous action of the physiology as well as the chemical reaction. Okay, so where the uh, light is derived to synthesize the organic compound. So light helps to convert the different organic compound into glucose or another products. Okay, so the next point is photosynthesis in plants require chlorophyll, light and carbon dioxide. It is a very important one. The photosynthesis also requires chlorophyll, light and carbon dioxide in order to carry out the qualitatively photosynthetic activity. Okay, if any of the component is missed, then the photosynthesis is ceased. Okay, so next one is the Joseph Priestley, who was a scientist in 1770. He performed the your experiment to find out the role of oxygen in the growth of green plants. So Joseph Priestley is one of the most important scientists in the 18th century, who performed the experiment to find out the role of oxygen in the photosynthetic activity. Okay, so next one is your Jans Ingenhousz. He showed the sunlight is essential for the plants. If you are interested to crack all the examination, you have to remember all the scientists name regarding the photosynthetic activities. Next one is your Julius von Schutz, who shows that this chlorophyll is located in the chloroplast in the plant cells. It is a very important one. Okay, so next one is Cornelius van Nel, who demonstrated that the photosynthesis is essentially a light dependent reaction. So the Van Nel has demonstrated that the photosynthesis is very much essential in the light dependent. So he demonstrated that the photosynthesis only occurs in the light. Okay, neither in the dark or when there is no light. Okay, or the dark light or the dark places. Okay, so photosynthetic reaction can be expressed as the 6CO2 plus 6 here there is a mistake, here is 12 H2O. Okay, then the photosynthesis sunlight is presence and glucose and as well as the oxygen is formed, where oxygen is the byproduct. Okay, so the mesophyll cells of the leaves contain the large number of chloroplasts. So you have to remember all these points in order to crack the exam. So the mesophyll cells, where the mesophyll cells are present, it is present in the leaf. When you are reading the leaf anatomy, it will very much important for you to remember all these components of the leaves. So next one is your the chloroplast. So chloroplast contain the grana, the stroma, lamella and the fluid stroma. Okay, so you have to remember this thing. The chloroplast contain the grana, the stroma, lamella and the fluid stroma. The membrane system of the chloroplast trap the light energy and synthesize the ATP and NADPH. Okay, in stroma, enzymatic reactions incorporated carbon dioxide into plant, leading to the synthesis of the sugar, which in turns form the starch. These reactions are light driven, so it is known as a light reaction. So in stroma, light reaction occur. You have to remember these things. Okay, so what happens in the light reaction? It is in the presence of light. When there is a light, the stroma is and the enzymatic reactions are activated, and the carbon dioxide is into the plant, leading to the synthesis of sugar. That means in the form of glucose. Okay, so this is called a light reaction, and the later reaction of the photosynthesis are not directly derived, but are dependent on the product of the light reaction. That means ATP and NADPH. So they are called the direct reaction. So in the direct reaction, what happens actually? In the direct reaction, it is started after the light reaction. When there is no light, it started, and it uses the NADPH and ATP to synthesize the different byproducts or different glucose amounts for the plants. Okay, so next one is your pigments are the substance that have the ability to absorb the light and the specific wavelength. So there are different pigments in the leaves of the plant. Okay, so there are photosystems also, okay, which trap the different pigments of light or absorb the light at a specific wavelength. See, so the chromatographic separation of the leaf pigment shows that the different colors of the leaves due to the four pigment: chlorophyll, alpha, beta and carotenoid. Okay, so you have to remember these things. the wavelength of at which there is a maximum absorption of chlorophyll A, that is the blue and red region. So you have to remember this thing, the blue and red regions are the maximum absorption for the maximum absorption region for this color of light. So blue and red color is very much essential where the maximum absorption of light occurs. Okay, so the other accessory pigments of the thylakoid are the chlorophyll B, the xanthophyll, the carotenoids, which also absorb the light and transfer into it a chlorophyll pigments or chlorophyll A, which also protect it from the photooxidation. So there are other essential pigments also present in the chlorophyll pigment, like your chlorophyll B, xanthophyll and carotenoid, which also absorb the light but less than the chlorophyll A. Okay, so it is helps the chlorophyll A for the photooxidation. Okay, so light reaction or the photochemical phase include the light absorption or water splitting and oxygen released and forming the high energy intermediates and ATP and NADP. So in the light reaction, what happens? It is a photochemical reaction which includes the light absorption. So here the light absorbed by the sunlight and water splitting. Here the water is split down into H plus ion and OH minus ion, and oxygen is released. That means oxygen is a byproduct, and the formation of high energy intermediate, that means ATP and NADPH are produced. Okay, so today for this next class we will discuss about the different kinds of dark reactions, okay, and its components, how it occurs. Okay, so till then keep watching. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.